Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth of Earl Crochet and welcome back to another of my monthly update videos. This is the April update and it's been about 5 weeks since I last filmed. March was an interesting month. I've been struggling a lot with some energy levels, so yeah, I was gonna film last week on Sunday afternoon, but I was just wiped. So today is Sunday the 7th of April. And I'm going to be talking about all the things I've been spending my time on the last month-ish. 5 weeks. You guys were really keen to see my amigurumi tips video series. Still working on that. It's been put a little bit on the back burner at the moment while I prioritize my own personal health and stuff. That's fine, but it's still coming. My husband's very keen to be working on that with me and helping, and he's got a million ideas of other things I can do as well. I'm a little bit more on the slow and steady path, but yes, things will eventually happen. We'll get there. Thank you for your patience. But yeah, I have been doing a fair bit of craft. You might be able to see this really cute print. I finally sewed this dress together. I cut out the pieces for this dress like last September or October maybe, and then I spent a day early in March just sewing all the pieces together. So this is the Megan dress by Tilly and the Buttons, and I really love the pattern. I'll insert some footage of the whole dress because yeah, so you can see it properly. Yeah, it just fits really well, and so I'll definitely be making this dress again. So I have the book Love at First Stitch, and it's great. If you work through the projects in order, you learn new skills as you do each project. I have a slightly more sewing experience. My mum taught me to sew when I was a child, and I did some sewing subjects at high school. So, you know, I kind of just dived into whatever project I wanted to do, which did mean I made a few mistakes when I assumed I could do things like sew invisible zippers in when I didn't. But the book teaches you exactly how to sew an invisible zipper, or like sew French seams, which was really cool. And they give lots of tips on how to change up the patterns and make them your own. So there's kind of the way to do it their way, and then how to change it up and make it a bit more your own as well, which is very cool. So this, yeah, is a dress. It took me about maybe 8 or 9 hours of sewing. So yes, and there's still things I need to improve upon, like the seam underneath the armpits is not quite right. It doesn't sit quite right. Kind of gets a bit uncomfortable after a while, but it's okay. I can work on that. I've also done a little bit more sewing. I also, based on the same book, there's the Clements skirt, which is this pattern I used for the Christmas skirt I made at the end of last year, which in the book is basically instructions to make up your own pattern for this skirt. And their instructions include putting a zip in. So I bought this fabric at Spotlight at the beginning of the month, and I bought a zipper to go with it because I was going to make a zippered skirt. But then I decided to put buttons in it. It's a little bit dodgy, but I'm really happy with this one. This is like just a light rayon fabric from Spotlight. I did French seams, so it means the edges are all encased in between these two sewn lines, so that's nice. I also decided to put pockets in this one, which was really interesting with the French seams. I spent a long time thinking about how I was going to do it. I ended up Googling it, and there's lots of resources. Lots of people have written blog posts about how to put in side seam pockets with French seams. And it does mean I've got a little bit of a bunch up happening there, but you can't really tell when I'm wearing it. So yeah, I wore the skirt yesterday for some family photos we had with Matt's family. And I was able to, like, probably wouldn't put my phone in there unless I had to. It's just a bit heavy, but I was able to, you know, just chuck a lipstick in there at some point, which was handy to have. Yeah. So this goes basically all the way to my ankles. It's like really long. It probably could have been a bit wider at the bottom. Sometimes it's a bit tight when I'm trying to walk. But I bought 2 meters of fabric, and then I cut the strips out for the waistband, and I cut the strip out for the button band because I didn't want, oh, I've got 2 strips for the button band actually, because I just wanted to reinforce that to make sure it didn't rip or anything with sewing the buttons to it or putting the buttonholes. And I discovered, because I went to look up how to sew a buttonhole, because I didn't know how to do that, and I discovered that my sewing machine has like this magic zipper foot that you put the, a button foot. So you put the button in it and then it just makes buttonholes that are the right size. So that was pretty cool. It was a little bit fiddly, like there was some little bit of troubleshooting I suppose I had to do, but it worked out well. That's what scrap fabric's for, figuring out all those sorts of things. But yeah, so if I'd had a bit more fabric I would have put more width in the bottom and probably the top, probably all the way down as well. Because yeah, I basically just cut the 2 waistbands pieces, cut the 2 strips for the button bands, and then used the rest of the fabric after I cut out the pockets. Used the rest of the fabric for the skirt. So there's a little bit of scrap just from around the edges of the pockets, but that's all. So yeah, a few finished items. This one I also made in about a day. I'm not quite so sure on the time. I took a little bit of time off work this last month and yeah, spent one of those days sewing this skirt, and yes, I'm very happy with it. It's, yeah, nice and simple. The buttons took, I didn't do the buttons and the buttonholes on the same day. I'd left them till a couple of days later. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. I love the colour. I think I've talked about this before, I often go into clothing shops that we have around here, and the clothes seem to be either like for 16-year-olds or 60-year-olds, and it's a bit frustrating. So this is, yes, an item I think I will wear a lot. Yesterday I paired it with a nice little kind of tank top collared blouse, so it doesn't have sleeves, and it kind of dressed it up a little bit, or I've worn it before with just, you know, a plain cotton tank top, which is a bit more casual. I was trying to find a nice short sleeve blouse the other day to wear with it, but a lot of them are very loose fitting around the waist, which means then when you tuck it into a high-waisted skirt you have way too much extra fabric. So I think I need to learn how to sew blouses, which I've not done before. Most I've done dresses and skirts in terms of as far as clothes go. But yeah, and yeah, the blouses, I don't know. There's a lot of long sleeved ones and they're all really expensive, unless you're going really cheap versions. I don't know. I also finally found an excuse to try the Spotlight's Abbey Road yarn. They've got a few different ones. So they've got a cotton, which is called Kung Fu Cotton. I haven't tried that one yet. This one's Wool to be Wild, and it is 52% merino wool, 52% merino wool, and 48% acrylic. It recommends a 6mm hook or needle. I knitted this beanie in a couple of days. I only used a 5.5mm needle because I didn't have a 6mm, but I do have a 6mm on the way, so I'm going to try this again and see what difference that makes. So this fits me pretty well. It like stretches out the cables. Yeah, so I pretty much just made up this pattern. I have a book of knitting tips that I used to find the cable pattern. This is a double brim beanie. So, oops. Yeah, so I've just knitted twice this length, and then when I did the next row, I picked up the stitches from the first row and knitted through those. There's different tutorials on how to do it. I think Stephanie from All About Amy did a little video on Instagram a little while ago about how to do the double brim beanie and pick up those stitches at the back. Yeah, basically you just pick up that stitch one at a time and then knit it together with the normal stitch. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, yeah, go over and see All About Amy on Instagram. She was the main one who I learnt to crochet amigurumi off, And yeah, now she's sometimes knitting little accessories and garments and all sorts of lovely things. I don't think I attached this pom-pom in the best way, but it's okay. There's like fur caught up in it. It's just what I'm fiddling with at the moment. But yeah, so I've got another ball, which I think I'll make the same one again. I'll have to get another pom-pom though. I really like this colour. I think it works really well. And then yeah, gift maybe one or both of those to somebody. See? Oh, and my last finished object is crocheted. So I've been planning this one for a while. I bought the main colour of the yarn last year at a celebration of wool, which is like a yarn festival, a wool festival in Canberra. So Canberra has these monthly markets. I think they're monthly. No, they're every Saturday. And then one particular one is, so they have themed ones sometimes, and a particular one in May is wool themed. And so this is that yarn, and it's really lovely. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a little sparkle to, there we go. It's got a little gold stellina thread running through it. So I have 2 skeins of this. I had 2 skeins of this. The first skein, Claire from YouTube, from Bob Wilson 123, bought it for me as a prize for a competition she ran last year, and then I bought the second skein to go with it because, you know, I wanted to have 2 matching skeins so I could use for a bigger project. And this is the 3 Spring Shawl by Deanne of Addie Day Designs. And what's really cool about this that I like is, so at the celebration of wool last year, Deanne and Claire were both there, and I got to hang out with them, which was nice. And they're both lovely. And it's got 2 contrast colours at the end there. So I was very tempted to pick pink contrast because there's a bit of pink in this as well. And Deanne used some pink in her sample, which looked really nice. But I'm very happy with this blue-green, which kind of ties in to like this kind of a pale greenish colour in the main colour yarn. And yeah, so both of these colours are from Hannah at Circus Tonic Handmade. This first one here I got from when I made the blur shawl last year. So it was my 3rd colour in the blur shawl. And then this bottom one is one of the colours in my advent calendar that I got last year from Hannah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is huge. I thought my blur shawl was big. My blur shawl was about 2.5 meters. The pattern says it's 2 meters, but mine's 2.5. This one, I didn't read how long it was meant to be. I thought it was going to be smaller than the blur shawl. The pattern also says 2 meters. Mine is 3 meters. So there's some of it, but it is 3 meters long. I used pretty much the whole 2 skeins of the main colour, which is good. I didn't want to have too much left over and I didn't know what to do with. I still have a fair bit of this one left over that I have some plans for, and I think I have a little bit of the dark green left. I'm not sure how much. Yeah. Deanne's shawl patterns are really nice. She uses crochet in such a nice way, and she recommends, and I would recommend too, going up a couple of hook sizes than what the yarn tag recommends if you're doing shawls. I also think for blankets, anything you want a nice drape on, yeah, go up some hook sizes. So this was a fingering weight yarn, and I used mostly a 4.5mm hook, and then there's a few single crochet rows that I used a 5mm hook for, which is what Deanne recommends. And yeah, just really nice drape and really soft. I thought the stellina might be a bit itchy, but you really can't feel it. And it smells like the wash that I used in when I blocked it. So that's nice. So yeah, that's all my finished objects. I've been working a bit on some other things. I've been carrying around my socks I've been knitting. These are the projects that I've taken when I go to church or to Bible study, because they've been pretty easy to just knit around. And so these are in yarn that I bought from Mel at Mahogany Turtle. And I've just, from that same book that I mentioned before about the cables, I took a cable from that book as well. and just added it into a pretty plain vanilla sock pattern. Nothing too exciting. I found another heel from somewhere else. So this is a bit of a mishmash of different things. So I'm not going to really go into too much detail because, yes, I just need to do the cuff. I was going to knit until I'd ran out of yarn, but I still have almost half the yarn left. And I think these are plenty long enough. Yeah, so I just need to do the cuff. Only problem is I've accidentally added in random stitches, so I have different numbers of stitches in each of these 4 kind of sections. I just need to work out how I'm going to do a cuff on top of that. I was going to do knit 2, purl 2, but my total number of stitches is not divisible by 4. And then where I've got this little teapot, I have 1 less stitch along that edge compared to all the other 3. So I'll work it out eventually. But yeah, so those are almost done. Pretty good. I think next time I do some socks, maybe I'll find a pattern that has a bit more shaping around the instep, I think it's called. Just see how that goes. Yeah, I've got a few pairs of socks I want to do eventually, which I think I mentioned one of them last time, so I think I want to do the So Faded sweater with my yarn from Ren and Ollie, which I showed at the beginning of last month. I will cast that on hopefully soon. I just have something else I want to finish first, and then when I finish that with the scraps, I want to make the fluorite socks, which are also a gradient sock pattern, and I'm not sure if they have much shaping in the instep, but I'll have to have a look. And then, oh, I also started, you may have seen, it's in this little pouch which I got at a market that is near our house and is run at our church, and there are some lovely ladies who make lots of items, and oh, it's lovely. And so in here I have a few things. I have this tiny little pair of scissors, even though I already have like 3 pairs of embroidery scissors. I have some little thread, some quilting cotton. I have a little thing of needles. And I have some gorgeous little hexagons. So this is my English paper piecing project, which is just a slow little project I'm working on here and there. I really love this green one. So what I'm thinking with these is I might put them all together and then eventually make a project bag. So a project bag together. So these are made with the paper I ordered from online, and I think the website is Hugs and Kisses, which is where I ordered like the scissors and stuff as well. And the little paper templates, little paper hexagons come pre-cut, and you iron them on, and they're part paper and part like a dissolvable fiber. So when you wash it, it mostly dissolves. So usually with English paper piecing, you have to like take out the paper later, but with these ones you don't, which I thought would be a nice, easy way to get started on English paper piecing. And so I've sewn a few of the hexagons together, and this is how we're going. It looks a bit funky because it's been all scrunched up in that little bag, but yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I did have an extra piece of fabric, this one, which I like as well, but I thought it worked, but I think it's just a bit too bright compared to the rest. It's okay, I suppose it could still work, but I think I'm gonna just leave it off, especially because I don't know, I don't think I like it as much as I used to. I think this works nicely on its own, and maybe I could even do, yeah, a project bag with a matching little notions pouch. I think yeah, we'll see how we go. Anyway, that'll be a ways off. That's just a little thing I can work on whenever I feel like it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my projects I come and go from for quite a while. I just want to mention this next one, even though I haven't done any work on it, because I'm determined to finish it. I tried, this is my blurred line sweater, also another pattern by Deanne of 80 Day Designs, and yarn, I got it a Celebration of Wool last year, so I'm determined to finish it in time so that I can wear it to a Celebration of Wool this year. So the yarn is from 3 Mums Yarn, and sorry, the other brightly coloured one was also from 3 Mums Yarn with the sparkle in my 3 Springs shawl. And I mean, there's ends everywhere, but I'll get there, I'll get there. So I tried this on again today, and I tried it on a while ago and decided it was too tight fitting and thought maybe I'd pull it out. I'm glad I didn't, because that would have been really disappointing. But with this, last year I started it, I was really struggling, like I struggled to get through the body. Just with alternating skeins with crochet, or skeins, whatever, with crochet, because you've got to change your hook and then put a stitch marker in the other one that you're not working on. Whereas knitting, it's not quite the same, because you just keep working around, but you switch which yarn you're using, so you don't have to take it, obviously you don't take your needles out and put them back in. But yeah, so I struggled with motivation to work this bit, and then with the sleeves I was really struggling because you have to change more often because the rows are shorter by the time you get around back to it. So I put in a couple of stitch markers, probably talked about this before, but this is where I started again this year, just recently. So I didn't make much progress because I got to here and then I tried it on and decided it was too fitted. But I tried it on again today and I'm quite happy with it. I think from here I'll just do the cuff, even though one of the things I really liked about this pattern was the idea of there's a thumb hole in the cuff in the original design, but I'm not going to get there, and also I don't think it's necessary for our climate. We're quite warm, really. We don't really get that cold, and I think it'll be really cool to have, it's kind of like, comes to here at the moment, so by the time I do a cuff it might come to there. So I think that'll be a really nice kind of length, and then I've just got to do the other sleeve to the same length, which hopefully I can do fairly quickly, knowing that it's a bit shorter. So this is the one I want to finish before I start the So Faded sweater, just because it's kind of similar, like a fingering weight jumper, or sweater, or whatever you want to call it, pullover. Yes, and they're both purple-ish, although this has got a lot more pink than my So Faded will. And I think once that's a project that once I start, probably wouldn't come back to this. So I really want to finish this so I can wear it. And yeah, I'll see if I can block it out, because I was thinking just to make it a little bit looser around the belly. I think it will turn out well, I just need to do it. So I'll do the cuff, and then hopefully that'll give me some momentum to keep going to do the other sleeve, especially with it being only a half sleeve. So that, haven't actually done any work on that, but. So early in the month I spent quite a bit of time still working on my cross stitch, which I've shown you before. I'm not sure how far I was last time I showed you, but I sewed in these lines for the top, which mark every 10 stitches. Maybe I showed you that part last time. But I've been working a bit on each one, doing where, you know, there's the same colour in multiple teacups. So that's been nice. But yeah, I haven't worked on that probably for a couple of weeks. I seem to go through phases. I'll, you know, work on a project almost monogamously for a while and then leave it for a while. Just depends on, I suppose, you know, what I'm excited about and what my brain is able to function at. I do enjoy cross stitch because it doesn't require too much concentration. It does require a bit because otherwise you'll muck it up. One of these teacups, this one I think I originally did about 10 stitches too high because of these lines at every 10, and I just got the wrong line. But yeah, so there's that. And I mentioned earlier in my 3 Springs shawl I used some yarn from my advent calendar from Hannah over at Circus Tonic Handmade, and after I did that I had to play around with the rest of the mini skeins in that set, and I added in a few that I'd had from other mini skeins I'd had from other places or leftovers from other things. So I've included a couple of mini skeins from Beck over at Handmade Beck, or Saltwater Yarns, and I also included the purple that I used, well, the purple green that I used in my blur shawl from Mel at Mahogany Turtle, and a mini skein from Kylie at Fiber Lily. So there's lots in there, and I was looking for like a wrap pattern. I've seen a few where they use like a long wrap for mini skeins, but I wasn't sure. I kind of wanted to do one with like a slightly complicated lace section, but my original inspiration for buying the Advent mini skeins was well, Beck's. She made just a plain diagonal kind of wrap last year, and I really liked that, so that's why I ordered the mini skeins. And so I ended up deciding to do something very similar. So this is what it is. I haven't shown much photos of this on Instagram. I've shown it in my stories, but I'm really loving this, how it's working out. So this side, you can see the gradient a bit more. This side's a bit more stripy, just in some sections. Like, you know, this section's stripy, this section you can't quite tell that much. So that was one color. And then this is the next. This is number 3, number 4. And so next I'm going to introduce this one, which is number 5, which is like a single ply, kind of purpley bluey with some flecks of green. It's really cool. And so, yeah, I started this last weekend. I wound up, I think, the first 4 balls, and actually I think I'm up to the 5th one. It's hard to tell because a lot of the blues are very similar. So I actually made a mistake in what I'd made up my fading pattern to be here, but you can't tell, so it's fine. Like, I did a couple of extra rows of whatever. Yeah, you can see I have 2 skeins attached here. So I've started introducing my 5th color, and then this will be the 6th one. Yeah, so I wound up 4 balls for that last weekend, and then a couple of days ago, Matt wound the next 5 for me while I just sat and knitted, which was nice. So I put a little story over that on my Instagram. I don't think it's still up there. I'll see if I can insert it somehow. Yeah, so this is my new go-to travel project. Taking to church, Bible study, just wherever. Nice little... Oh, and you can see I've got some new stitch markers on here. So these are from the Clever Clove. So I've ordered pins from her before, but then she had these stitch markers. So yeah, that's a little cat knitting a beanie. Oops, sorry. And then there's a dinosaur knitting a sweater. Oh, he's so cute! And then there's a hedgehog. I'm pretty sure her name's Henrietta. Oops. And she's knitting a little scarf that she's wearing. Oh my goodness. I love them. And so they're just marking where I've changed colours and stuff. Mostly just more for the fun of having them on there rather than the function of knowing where I've changed colours. Anyway, so that's all for works in progress. So for the month of March, I decided to sign up for Hannah of Circus Tonic Handmaid's Sock Club. So this is the Sock Club 2019. It's on her Jubilee sock base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And it's Kosciuszko Summit. So all of her yarns are usually inspired by nature. And so this one, she, over the summer, went and visited Kosciuszko Summit. And she had a little blurb about how the inspiration worked out. And so I think the yellow is all the flowers that were there, and there's blue, and there's a little bit of purple too. Oh, so good. I kind of want to unwind it to show you guys all the colours. There's a bit more. That was purple. I'm not sure how much it's coming up on the screen. But also, it's so neatly twisted. I can never get them to look like this. For instance, here's that blue that I used in the 3 Spring shawl. And this is also from Hannah. So I think what I'm going to do is pair it together and do some socks with maybe contrast heels and toes in the blue. Maybe. Because I think there's kind of like that's the same colour, maybe. So I think that would look nice. And considering that I've used just over 50 grams now for my 2 socks, for these 2 knit socks, I could probably get 2 pairs out of this. Although how long will that take me to knit? Probably forever to knit 2 pairs of socks. But we'll see. So that's one thing I'm planning on making, along with the So Faded setter and along with a whole bunch of other stuff. But yes, that's my stash enhancements for this month. Yes, I think that's all. Anyway. Let's talk about it.